Hello, everyone. This month I've been filming a particularly strange group of protesters who are white people showing up for Black Lives Matter protests. Basically, crowding out all the black people that should be showing up for their own namesake, the black people. So, I started with a video called The Whitest Black Lives Matter Protest Ever, in which a group in Colorado Springs, just about an hour south of me, they all showed up to do their own little Black Lives Matter protest without a lot of black people. I don't know why they can't get black people to show up with them, but they do have a couple token black people that do show up, and what that shows as far as marginalization in their own movement, I don't know. I'm still just observing at this point, and I'm going to show up at their events to see what they're all about. Then, a couple weeks later, I did a video on how the Black Lives Matter protesters and all of the umbrella of the groups that are connected to it, they all showed up to Denver City Council to secure the independent monitor of police. And I thought this was actually a reasonable request. It doesn't take any more money because they're already paying for an independent monitor. They just wanted to make it so that it was in the charter of the city rather than by ordinance, which means that it would take a vote of the people to remove the independent monitor, which, would never happen. So they're just making it one little itty bit more secure. But when they showed up with signs that said, put a leash on these pigs, or unite against police terror, or they're wearing shirts that say I can't breathe and whatnot, I don't really feel like they were helping their cause. And especially when they were talking at their city council meeting, some of them were very cringy. They were among the cringiest things I've ever seen. And I've watched a couple of these SJW cringe compilations. What I provided in that video was some cringe. Some real cringe. And they would be better off just getting up to that podium and saying, I support this, please vote for it, and then sitting the fuck down. Because the more that they talk, the cringier they get. But on this video, I got a comment from Megatic, right here, Megatic. He said, how is Denver Justice Project Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter wasn't even there. So I responded to this because there were a lot of groups that cross-posted this event. I tweeted out a picture of a white guy who was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt behind me. And then I said, I trust that you saw the woman wearing the I Can't Breathe shirt who also spoke at that city council. Then the sign that said, let's put a leash on these pigs, which was in my video. Note that Mr. Coco, the trans man who runs the Denver chapter of Standing Up for Racial Justice, he led an event where 4 Surge members were arrested for locking arms at the Denver police headquarters to obstruct the entrance while holding a giant banner that read, under construction until Black Lives Matter. And I will show that to you right now. That's the banner. It said, under construction until Black Lives Matter. And when I look at the photos from what they did on that day, the 4 people who got arrested are in those photos, right? So you got to look at the cover photos here. And one of the girls, she's wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt right in the center of this arms locked thing. Right? She's right there, Black Lives Matter, right there on her t-shirt. And they created these tubes where I guess they were holding on to something inside the tubes. So I guess they were guessing that the Denver police wouldn't cut the tubes because they'd be afraid of cutting their arms. But instead, the Denver police just picked them all up all together at once and took all 4 of them together because there are a lot of members of the Denver police and they have the manpower to do such a thing, especially when you're at their headquarters. So that was kind of a fail, but this is something that I've seen with the Idle No More movement, a previous movement that Eric Verlo was a part of, so I can see where they got the idea. Now, going on in what I replied to Megodic, I said the Denver Justice Project is currently supporting and tracking the trials of those arrestees. All you have to do is look at their Facebook page and you can see this, that they're showing up to all of their trials. And I said that I'll concede that the Black Lives Matter people of Denver are particularly more light-skinned than the police officers that were actually in the event at City Council. All of the police officers that showed up happened to be not just black, but really midnight dark-skinned black. So they were blacker than everyone there. Even the few black people that were in the room, which there weren't many. So that was a thing. Then I said to Megotic that the event was originally posted by the Denver Justice Project, and then it was cross-posted by all the attending groups. And this was Black Lives Matter 520, 5280. Sorry. 5280 is Mile High. That's a common thing among all the different groups around Denver. Denver Justice Project, Surge, which is standing up for racial justice, Occupy Denver. There were many T-shirts that said Occupy Denver, and Eric Verlo was wearing his motorcycle denim jacket with the Occupy banner on the back. The ACLU showed up. You know, there were many different groups that showed up to this, but they were all basically doing the slogans and showing the signs of Black Lives Matter. And that's how people are going to recognize this. So that's the way I characterize it. Now, after this city council meeting, and this is the actual point of this video, I'm already 7 minutes in. After this meeting, the Denver City Council, they voted for securing the independent monitor, and then Surge threw up a meeting of just what to plan for their next move, right? So they had a community meeting for Surge, the white people club for being Black Lives Matter. You can see all these white people in their banner picture here, and then you can see Black Lives Matter on their sign, Black Lives Matter on the sign. This is the white club for Black Lives Matter, okay? And whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm still leaving that up in the air. You know, it's good that people of other races support other, people's equality. I'll give you that, but wow, what does it say that you can't get black people to show up to support you back? Maybe they don't want you talking for them, which is a thing that they like to do. They like to talk for other people, and I'll get to that. So in this community meeting that they posted on Facebook, I wasn't able to attend because I was working. Plus, if I showed up with a camera to that, they'd probably ask questions. But they posted their notes from the community meeting. And they had all these different causes that I guess that they want you to support. But the biggest one, where they still use the banner that says, under construction until Black Lives Matter. You click on this link and it goes to a change.org petition, right? And the petition is called Create a Denver That's Free of Racist Violence. I'm going to read through this petition and give you my my feelings on this. Of course, the Surge Denver leader, Andy Coco, he's already signed it. Let's see. My first feelings on just reading the title are that instead of like creating an all-new Denver that's free of racist police violence, why don't we address the few little things that you have come up with that look racist in the city, whether it's police or not, and we'll just clean up those little things, because we have a pretty good fucking city. Okay? That's probably why you can't find many black people who want to stand with you and support you, because they're like, nah, we ain't up for that stupid shit. We don't want to riot. We don't want to have marches where we riot on this shit, because we have a good city. The police officers like to stop in our neighborhood and pass out baseball cards. Anyways, their first demand is, we want a world free of anti-black violence. Okay. I can get with that on its face. Then it says, as a white movement for racial justice, showing up for racial justice Denver may not have a bullseye on our backs. We're not targeted for execution over and over. Officers face consequences for murdering us. But we're not free until our black and brown neighbors, colleagues, comrades, friends, and family members are afforded justice and respect. What I have to say to that is, it doesn't matter what color an officer sees when he shoots and kills a person. He's going to face the consequences for it. Being, if he was in the right for the shooting, he still has to face an inquiry about the shooting. He will still have to be on limited duty until that's resolved. And it doesn't matter what color of person that he shoots and kills. And especially in Denver. We're a pretty fucking progressive city. Wow. And I'm just going to say that black people and brown people are not targeted for execution. That is nowhere in the list of priorities for the Denver Police Department. That is nowhere in their motto or anything about them. They don't have this even unspoken. Okay? Even fucking unspoken. There's nothing about them that says, you know what, I think we're going to do this mission of killing black and brown people. No! This is fucking Denver. Shit. The next thing they say is Denver demands, and this is them talking for all of Denver, okay? They love to speak for everyone else, even though most of Denver don't show up to support them. Denver demands that we get an end to police and other state violence against black and brown people. We echo the call from black organizers all over the country for transformation of policing in our society so that policing no longer serves as an agent of racist oppression. Okay. My response to that paragraph. If you look at how they're speaking for Denver, this is Denver as a whole, on average, everyone in Denver, right? They're speaking for them. The police in Denver have more racial sensitivity training than Denver citizens do. Okay? Now, maybe your entire degree, whoever wrote this, and I'm guessing it was Andy Coco, maybe your entire degree was half classes of, multiculturalism and whatnot. But even then, if a police officer's been on the force for 5 or 6 years, he's had more hours of racial sensitivity training than you did. And you're the social justice warrior. Okay? The police are not agents of racist oppression. That is nothing like the training that they're getting. That is the exact opposite than the training that they're getting. Okay? Holy shit. So then they get to the demands part. Okay? The first demand is transparency from the mayor of Denver, Mayor Hancock, and Chief White, and the manager of safety, Stephanie O'Malley. What they first want is a published written letter supporting demographic data collection of all policing stops and interactions in our city, signed personally by the mayor. Okay. I'm going to say that that's partly not all that bad of a demand. Okay? But where it goes awry is policing stops. And it's a little bit more clear in the next paragraph. It says, track demographics of individuals contacted, stopped, arrested, injured, and killed by police. Okay? So it's really easy to track the demographics of people who are arrested, injured, and killed, right? But if I'm pulled over by a police officer, right, and they just say, hey, you have a tail light out, I'm going to give you a warning. Do I want the police officer to then, follow that up with, oh, and by the way, could you tell me a little bit about your demographics? What's your age and your race? How well is that going to be received by the people of Denver that you say that you're speaking for? Okay? I don't want that police stop to last any longer than it fucking has to. Alright? And there are better ways to get this demographic information. Much better ways. Ways that you, Surge, or Black Lives Matter, or Denver Justice Project, or whoever you are, ways that you can do it your fucking selves. Here's an idea. Why don't you go door to door to everyone in Denver with your own little questionnaire and say it's just a quick questionnaire about police in Denver, and we want to know if you've been arrested and what or stopped, and what your experiences were and what your race is. Just go by that. You can do that on your own and not require millions of dollars of changes to the police force. You can raise the manpower yourselves. Look, you've got hundreds of people showing up to your meeting, listening to you, instead of just like sitting around and talking about how racist the police are. Why don't you go out and find out how people actually feel about the police? Because you know what? Most of Denver doesn't show up to support you because they don't believe in the things that you're saying. You don't represent them. Number 2, stop the sweeps. Denver Police Department has the power to deprioritize and refuse the enforcement of laws that criminalize homelessness. Okay, the police shouldn't have the power to refuse to enforce laws, okay? Especially when they're getting complaints from citizens in fucking Denver, okay? And the sweeps that you're talking about, these go back to the Occupy movement. This is, all of these protest movements kind of just using different labels to describe themselves. But this comes back to the Occupy movement and all of the homeless people that are right across from the state capitol that get kind of routed out of that city park that is there for the enjoyment of the people of Denver who complain about homeless people setting up tents all the time right across from the city capitol that they paid for to look beautiful, and instead is filled with tents of homeless people with, signs that say Black Lives Matter or Occupy Denver or whatever, because they're trying to camp wherever they want and trying to defend themselves with the First Amendment. So, you want an immediate halt to all the sweeps of the homeless population of our city. How this relates to black people in Denver, I don't know, because I work a lot with the homeless population in Denver, and I can tell you downtown, it's not a lot more black people than white people, and in fact, it's actually a veteran issue. A lot of them are military veterans that are down there, and you don't talk about them because that doesn't fit your worldview of who you should support, because you don't like supporting baby killers, do you? So, you already marginalize the homeless yourself by not wanting to support them as being veterans, but you are trying to make it a racial issue when it's not. I've had many cameras on Occupy Denver, and how they just incorporated the homeless that were around the city capitol to hold their signs. I have many videos on my channel. You tell me what percentage of those people were black or brown or any other color but white. Okay? It's not a fucking problem. Let's see. Use your power and influence in the city of Denver to repeal the urban camping ban. Why do you think it's okay for people to be homeless and camping in city parks? Okay? Why not support a special place to have people do urban camping if they want to be camping? Okay, these are not campgrounds. These are city parks, and they have other functions, like hosting events, like protests that you like to do. Okay? People who want to have these protests shouldn't have to clean up a whole homeless encampment just to have their protest be right in front of the city capitol and the state capitol. Fuck. The next demand is divest, demilitarize, and reinvest. You want $12 million of the $24 million that was already invested in the Denver Police Department for reforms. And by the way, these reforms were supported by many of the groups that kind of wear your banner sometimes, like the ACLU. And you want them to surrender military-grade weaponry in favor of community-building reinvestments. I'm going to say, because of you, seriously, because of the protesters that you are, being that the guy who's right here, seriously, motherfuckers, the guy that's right here, Eric Verlo, holding this sign right here, okay, he had bomb-making material on his website and instructions for protesters to start making bombs. I think that you need to look at your own people and realize the reason why the police is militarized is because of you. It's because of the riots and protests that you guys fucking throw. Okay? So, yeah, I'm in favor of community building reinvestments. I'm in favor of making mental health a thing that is accessible by homeless people. And I know that it reduces criminalization. But you have to realize that by going about things the way that you do and holding signs that say, let's put a leash on these pigs, all right? When you do that, it makes the Denver police scared and want to militarize, okay? They have to react to what happens to the city, okay? And most of Denver, who you say that you're speaking for, fucking Denver wants this police force to be able to respond to fucking you! You! Oh my goodness. Okay. On July 20th, members of Showing Up for Racial Justice blocked your doors. They're talking to the police department directly there. We blocked your doors. And then they say, Denver refuses to allow continued policing as usual. No, Denver was applauding and clapping when they saw you carried away with your little blockade. Okay, they were happy that you were cleaned off the streets because they don't like your tactics. They don't like that you blocked the doors to the fucking police station with a blockade. This is a public service that they like to go in and use. They walk into that police headquarters for a lot of different reasons, right? They don't like that you would interrupt the flow of traffic for them trying to use the police. Says Denver, again, Denver, all of Denver, takes action in solidarity with the movement for Black Lives. And see, they're kind of obscuring that they're trying to be Black Lives Matter there. Who are occupying, demonstrating, and marching and chanting all over the country for a new future. Okay? And they don't call it Black Lives Matter, they call it the Movement for Black Lives, even though in the tags of their petition right here it says Black Lives Matter. Right there. Black Lives Matter. Okay? Links in the description box if you want to see any of this. And, yeah, I'm going to be at whatever their next event is, if I can, and I'll film it, and I'll get back with you guys on more of this craziness. Laters.